Welcome to the Breakthrough Client Results and Retention Bootcamp Day 2. All right, we are rocking and rolling for Day 2. This bootcamp, if this is the first call that you're on, this bootcamp is the 1-week bootcamp where you are learning simple, powerful coaching tools to give your clients breakthroughs 3 times faster, so that you have constant testimonials like, damn, I need that program. And your revenue triples from client retention. So if you are joining me here live right now, say hello in the chat. Tell me where you're tuning in from. Where is the chat box? I lost it. Tell me where you're tuning in from. I see JD in the house. Hello, hello. And drop a word around how you are feeling today. If you're ready for this training, the word that's coming to my mind right now for myself is energy, because we're bringing the energy today. Okay. So I'm ready to get down to business right away. We have a lot to cover and we're really building on the momentum that we created in day 1. So I want to get right into it. JD's in Asheville, North Carolina. Love it. Okay. If it's safe for you to do so right now, I would also love for you to come on camera so I can see your gorgeous face. And it's just more fun interacting with humans, you know? There she is. Hello. Okay, and this is going to be a really interactive training. As you guys know, I like to be interactive with you. So be fully present with me. If you need to take a moment to shut the door, make sure your phone's on silent, whatever you need to do to just be fully in the zone, go do that now. All right, let's kick it off. So if you were not in the first training, I just want to do a quick introduction for myself. My name is Alyssa, and I have coached hundreds of entrepreneurs around the world, 6-figure, multi-6-figure, 7-figure coaches and business owners around the world over the past 6 years. I learned coaching and really leadership in a 2.5-year leadership and coaching program that I did, where I was offered the opportunity to coach the entire cohort of 120 people to reach their goals. And we had an 83% success rate. Absolutely insane. It was so fun. And then my coaching business started out of the reputation that I had built for being a good coach in that program. People started coming to me and asking to pay me to coach them. I went through all the ups and downs, like horror stories and all that good stuff that you can imagine of having a coaching business. You guys have all experienced that. But I am at the point now where I've had every one-on-one client except for one resign. I have clients resign 2, 3, 4, 5 times, stay in my world for months and years. I'm a coach in my mentor, James Wedmore's Business by Design program. There's me and James. I just love his little smile. So cute. And I also have a separate business in environmental sustainability. And I was hired by a group of Fortune 500 companies to use the same tools that I teach, that I'm teaching you here today, to build a leadership program for their senior executives to help them influence their companies to be more sustainable. So the skill, what I have to say is, like, the skill that took me from being a newbie coach to being a coach who is literally coaching people, hundreds of people all over the world, and having clients re-signing over and over again at even double and triple the prices, and telling me years later, you know, that one conversation, that one breakthrough I had all those years ago literally changed my life, is learning and mastering the conversational coaching tools and leadership tools that I'm teaching you today. That's it. That's allowed me to consistently and reliably cause needle moving breakthroughs for people in minutes. So they don't just take the action, but they become the version of themselves who takes the action. You know what I'm saying? So this is exactly what we're talking about today. So what we're talking about today, like, is all of this good stuff here. We're going even deeper than we were on day 1, but my just kind of one-liner sum it all up is, if you were an online coach and you're like, okay, you know what, I want to triple my revenue this year, and I don't want to do that by posting and doing a bunch of crazy stuff on Instagram. I want to do that by giving my clients such incredible breakthroughs that they crush it in my container and they want to just keep working with me and going deeper with me over and over again. And the testimonials that they write have other dream clients flocking to work with me. If that's what you're after this year, then you're in the right place. So put a hell yeah or a heck yeah or a yeah girl, whatever kind of yeah you want in the chat if that's what you're here for. So when it comes to, oh yeah, I forgot to say, if you have not watched training number 1, I recommend, if you're watching the replay right now, please go back and watch that training first, because we're building on what we talked about on day 1, and it's going to help you integrate the material even more. We talked about the mistakes that coaches are making getting client results and how that directly impacts your revenue. Namely, if you are dealing with having those like 1 to 2 star players in your programs who always crush it, but then you have the rest who are like, yeah, they're getting okay results, but they are giving kind of vanilla testimonials that you're not super stoked to put on Instagram. And then they say they loved working with you, and then they're complete, and then they don't resign. You see they hired another coach 2 weeks later. If that's the case, and you're, as a result, like the clients you are working with who are getting results, you're wanting to scale your programs to 2, 3, 4 times the number of people, but you're holding back from doing that because you feel capped in your ability to get the current people you work with breakthroughs, like the time and energy you have. If that's the case, the reason why that's happening, why they're bringing the same call to same problem to the call 3 weeks in a row, it's because they haven't had their breakthrough. And why haven't they had their breakthrough? Because you're doing the work for them. Why haven't they had the breakthrough? Because it takes you 30 minutes to serve and get a breakthrough on a call for one of them. And no wonder they're taking action, they're doing the things, but it's not like needle moving progress. And no wonder you're wondering how the heck you're going to scale. So why is that all happening? It's because you're incredible at marketing and messaging. Like you got that on lock. It's because you teach from your zone of genius like nobody else does. You have the fire curriculums that are results driven. It's because you are an amazing mentor. You have so much experience and a wealth of knowledge from the path that you've walked in your niche, and you have that to share with your clients, but you are not trained, you haven't been trained and fully embodied and mastered breakthrough coaching that causes needle moving breakthroughs for your clients in minutes, that gets them into bigger action and gets them bigger results, has them want to continue working with you. The breakthrough coaching for 3x, triple, it's the easier way to say it. The breakthrough coaching for triple client results and retention causes the needle moving breakthroughs that gets them into the refined action faster. What do I mean by needle moving? This is the key part. Needle moving breakthroughs. I mean, this gets to the root problem quickly and directly. When you're causing the breakthrough, you're getting their buy-in to want to do the work and to want to change their behavior. You're building their self-awareness around what their behavior is, like their habits, their triggers. I was saying both of these words. Their triggers, their patterns. You're building the self-awareness around what these things are and how they show up and how that positively or negatively impacts the action. You reveal the practical gaps and the refined action that they need to take. You're maybe even revealing a deeper issue that you need to coach them through. And ultimately, by doing all of this, you're coaching in a way where you're teaching them to work through their own blocks and be independent, because we know that independent clients who can work through things themselves, who don't need you for everything, who can trust themselves and they have that inner knowing and inner conviction, those are the clients that fly. Those are the clients that crush it. And those are the clients who, first of all, you love working with because it feels like expansive and lovely and magical on your nervous system and on your time. But these are the clients who want to stay in your world and continue doing that with you. So today's agenda, what we're going to do today is a couple things. We're going to have a really real, honest conversation about what it actually takes to be the coach who does this. We're going to go into the completion and creation exercise that I shared with you on day one. We're going to go even deeper into that exercise and talk about some of the nuances of delivering that exercise with your clients specifically, so that you can cause more potent breakthroughs, like more breakthroughs and more potent breakthroughs just in the way that you're delivering it. And then we're going to workshop this exercise together. So if you're here with me live, buckle up for the brave souls who are going to do this together, so that you can have a chance to experience this exercise in action and do it in a really safe space here together. And you'll see those nuances. Okay. So why are we talking about what it actually takes to be the coach who leads global coaching containers, who gives needle moving breakthroughs in minutes and triples their revenue from client retention? I was sitting with myself after day one, and I just felt like, we talked about this, but I didn't really get into it in the really like God's honest, super direct way that I know is going to serve you the most. And so put real and raw in the chat box if I have your permission to really go there with you and have a transparent conversation about what it takes to do this. Put real and raw in the chat box if that's cool with you. So since day one of being a coach, and I'm sharing this with you because not to intimidate you or to there's no what's the word I'm trying to say? The intention behind it is to really share with you the good, the bad, and the ugly about this. And I say this with love because I know it's going to serve you. So since day one of being a coach, I've invested over 2,000 hours in learning coaching tools and refining my skill sets, including over 100 hours, even in the last year and a half, when I already had the business, when I already had these incredible skills. I always am refining my skills. Why? Because I'm a huge nerd for it, first of all, like embarrassingly so. I'm a huge nerd for the coaching tools. I love it. It's as my friend Kayla tells me, it's a very human design projector thing to do, which I am. But I'm truly obsessed with how can I get this person that I'm serving? What's the ultimate breakthrough that they need right now? How can I give them that bigger breakthrough that's going to move the needle for them faster? How can I do it by saying less, in less time, in less steps? I obsess over that. Or when I was the team leader in the leadership program, it was, how can I facilitate a needle moving breakthrough for 120 people in this room right now? To do that, I study coaching. We talk, how athletes, like elite athletes, review the game tape of their games. I do that with coaching. I rewatch coaching calls. When I hang up on a call and I go, that didn't really go the way that I wanted it to. I wonder where I could have gone more into the weeds to get the breakthrough faster. Like, I will literally watch the coaching calls back and I'll study that. And I'll ask my mentors. And when I'm learning a new coaching tool, I do it obsessively every single day. When I'm at the grocery store and I'm checking out and I'm striking up conversation with the gal who's checking me out, I'm like, oh, can I use the coaching tool I learned today? Can I use this here to practice it? That's how obsessed I am. I'm gonna be the first one to say I sucked at marketing until this year. Okay. I sucked at marketing until this year. However, my business started because people wanted to be coached by me. What am I saying here? The business was a byproduct of the breakthroughs. It's not the other way around. The business is a byproduct of the breakthroughs. So when coaches come to me and they say to me, I have a business coach and she's amazing and I love her and I'm in a mastermind and I'm always up leveling my thinking, expanding my thinking. I'm asking great questions. I'm doing the things. I've got the messaging dialed in. I don't call those people, those like victim mindset complainer people in anymore. I got the messaging unlocked. I have the signature program, and the trainings are super potent, and clients tell me that it like completely changes their perspective, and they've never learned it this way, and they're getting results, and I'm making over 10K months. And they say all these things, and then it's like they're frustrated when clients aren't getting it, when all of these things are true and they're still bringing the same problems week after week to the call, or when they feel exhausted serving their clients because they feel like they have to do the work for them, and their clients don't resign, and they're frustrated, and they go to the place of, oh, there's something wrong with me. Oh, or even worse, they're like, oh, you know what? I need to go fix my messaging again because the people that I'm calling in aren't self-led. It's a them problem. And when this happens and we're talking about this, my heart goes out to them, and I think lovingly, duh, duh. How many hours have you put in refining your coaching skill sets? How many hours have you put in refining your coaching skills? If I were to ask you, what are the 3 reasons why a client brings the same problem 3 weeks in a row? Can you tell me? Can you tell me if a client is doing this behavior, what's the tool that you can use to get them out of it? If the answer is no, then it makes complete sense. Like, I know that you care. I know that you have the heart for that. You wouldn't be in this crazy ride of entrepreneurship. You would not choose this profession if you didn't have a heart of gold who genuinely wants to see the people win and create global impact. Like, I know that's you. But I say this lovingly, caring doesn't equal coaching skill. And the coaching skill is what gets the clients the results that has them want to keep working with you, and your revenue grows. So if you are in a place where any of what I'm saying is resonating with you, and you're having these challenges and you haven't worked on the skills, and you continue to choose not to do that, that's like saying, oh, I want to make 20K months, but I've never invested in a course on how to create content that converts. Coaches tell me all the time, they're like, okay, I see the way you coach. How do you do that? I had some clients who started calling me Laser Beam, which is not the sexiest nickname, but they started calling me Laser Beam for my ability to get results. And they're like, I want to learn how to coach like you. But I want to say that what is missed, I think, is what's underestimated is the relentless refinement and obsession and devotion to the craft of coaching. Not marketing, not messaging, not curriculum design, not mentorship, not your personal leadership and you learning the lessons and you going first and being an example. The devotion and obsession over transforming the human being in front of me through the tools that I'm using in the way that I'm coaching. 2,000 hours of study, guys, over 6 years. Like, I earned the right to have clients re-signing with me 3, 4, 5 times. I earned that right. And what I want to empower you with is like, coaching is not just this gift. It's like, maybe you have it or you don't. What's that funny, the makeup commercial? Maybe she was born with it, or maybe it's Maybelline. It's not like that. It's a science, and it's super practical. So if you're having these challenges with your clients, it's not a guessing game. It's not like, oh, I'm a projector. I ask really great questions because that's just who I am. Or, oh, I make 100K months and I have these amazing embodied lessons from making all that money. Or, oh, she has a coaching business, but she used to have a high power job in corporate and she led a bunch of teams, so she knows how to do this. It's not that. It's very simple. The practical gaps in your coaching. It's that you need to have the mindset of your coaching skills being just as much a revenue generating skill as your content messaging. But people don't see it like that. It's that you, pardon my French, you need to study the fuck out of coaching and be relentless about becoming the best coach that you can be. When you do that, it's inevitable that your clients are getting 5 times the self-trust and the self-conviction and the belief, and they're taking the 5 times the action, getting the 5 times the results, and they're re-signing with you 5 times. Like, that's inevitable. But I want to be really straight with you. Like, until you do that, until you've at least studied and refined for a few months, at least, you're not even on the court playing the game. You're sitting in the stands. And people who sit in the stands don't win. And people who sit in the stands don't learn. Or they do, but it just takes a lot longer and it's a lot harder. So teaching and mentorship and and marketing and all of the beautiful, powerful skills that make you more powerful than probably 90% of the people on the planet just by having those skills. Like, that's the bare minimum service. You haven't even scratched the surface yet of what's possible for you in your coaching and what's possible for the transformation that you're going to get your clients. And truthfully, this is a very ordinary game. Every coach on the internet, like, no one's talking about this. It's what every, like, teaching and mentorship and all of that, that's what every coach and their business coach does. Most coaches don't do this and they're not willing to do this. And they're not, if they are willing to do it, they're not relentless about it. It's like, oh, this is a course, I bought this passive course and I'm watching it at 2x speed while I'm doing 3 other things. But the good news is you're not ordinary. You are extraordinary. If you were ordinary, you wouldn't be here in this conversation with me right now. And I want you to know that you have everything that you need right now to be the coach who clients re-sign with 3 or 4 times, to be the coach who gets such fire breakthroughs that it's like 10 years from now, they come back to you and they're like, you know what? I still remember that day. I think about it often and I remember how it changed my life. You can be that coach and you will. It's just that you've been playing the long game everywhere else in your business with how you're learning and refining your content and all those other skills. And you just need to apply that here. It's just a matter of closing those gaps. Are you with me right now? Give me a yes. Give me any kind of reaction. How is this sitting with you? Do you feel a little called out? If so, good, because I love you. So mastering conversational coaching and leadership tools is the fastest, most effective way to deliver the needle-moving breakthroughs to clients in minutes, to have a stack of, damn, I need that program testimonials, and triple your revenue from client retention. I'm going to say this last thing and then we're moving on because I really want you to hear this. You're going to put in the 2,000 hours either way. Okay. So the question is, do you want to do that? Do it yourself over 6 years with your revenue and your reputation on the line? Or do you want to do that with the refined reps by having my 2,000 hours condensed into a fantastic program? No, I'm just kidding. Like, the choice is yours. So put doing what it takes in the chat if you are here to do what it actually takes to change your clients' lives and triple your revenue through your coaching. Doing what it takes. I love it. JD says, yes, this is great. Thank you for bringing it back to what matters. For sure. And I love that you said that, because it really is like, it's not about the money. It's not about the money. It's not about your business. It's not about you. It's about the human that on the other side of the conversation, the human on the other side of the screen. And when you put your focus and your love and your attention and devotion into serving the human the best possible way, that's when everything else explodes. Beautiful. Okay. So I want to talk about how the rest of this is going to go. Is I want to drill down a little bit further on needle moving breakthroughs versus the kind of the missed opportunities for needle moving breakthroughs in the way that I usually see people coaching. We started to talk about this in day 1, but I want to just go a step further. So when I say needle moving breakthroughs, think about this literally. Your client has a needle moving breakthrough. They break through something internally that's going on, and they're able to take a needle moving action. So they didn't just have an insight or a passing thought or an aha. It's like, whoa, holy shit, I just broke through something. That way of thinking, something that I didn't see before, a blind spot. Whoa, I see something now that I can't unsee. I feel something now that I can't unfeel. Oh, I just got goosebumps. I just got goosebumps. So that's what I'm talking about here when I say needle moving breakthroughs. So when I see coaches leading with mentorship, advice giving, mentorship, all of that, I don't count that as a needle moving breakthrough. Why? Because it didn't necessarily change anything that's happening inside the client. So if I have a client who says, say you're a business coach, and your client comes to you and says, okay, I'm feeling like I'm in the middle of my launch, and I realize that I am totally attached to my launch results. And you are like, okay, well, I've been here. I know this. I'm going to share with them what my mentors, I can't even speak today. I'm going to share with them what my business coach shared with me. I know this from lived experience. And you say something like, you have 100% of your launch left. Go follow. Here's my advice to you as an action step. Go fall in love with your work, get decided, move for you. It's not about the external stuff. It's about you being committed to this launch and you having the experience of doing it without any regard for what's happening externally, et cetera, et cetera. And if you feel called out by me saying that, that's cool. That's a good thing. Because the needle moving breakthrough is something like, here's the exercise that we did on day one. The needle moving breakthrough is like, okay, let's understand what happened. What are the facts of the situation? Where are you at in your launch right now? What's happened? What hasn't happened? Okay, and what are you making that mean about you? It's not I'm attached to the results. It's, well, I'm making that mean that the people who are in my launch vehicle don't like me. I'm making that mean that it's not going to happen, making that mean that it's not possible for me. Okay, well, what is working about this, holding on to this right now? Or even where did this occur? What was the incident? Can you point to a specific incident where you went from being detached to being attached? Like, what happened? Let's talk about that so you can recognize that and move forward. And what can you do differently now? Now that you see that it's not the truth, it's just the reaction that you had, what can you do differently? That's the needle moving breakthrough. It's going deeper. It's not just, it's like, I'm going to say this metaphor and you take it with a grain of salt because I know that you know that your clients are not children and you're not their mom. But it's the difference between your mom telling you, don't touch the stove, it's hot. And your child hearing that, understanding it logically, yeah, okay, but it's not a lived experience until they understand, oh, wait, I touched the stove, and here's what happened when I touched the stove. You get what I put a yes in the chat if you're getting what I'm saying. That when it comes to mentorship, when it comes to giving advice, when it comes to teaching concepts, especially when your client is in a disempowered state, the needle moving breakthrough is when you shift something internally, shift their relationship to the thing, help them go from disempowered to empowered. When they understand, oh, now I have more self-awareness. Oh, now I see that my behavior. Oh, now I can take that with me moving forward. And if you have a question about this right now, before we move on, go ahead and raise your hand too. That's cool. So here's another example of not a needle moving breakthrough versus a needle moving breakthrough. If you are if you're a dating coach and your client comes to you saying, my boyfriend Like what's a not ridiculous example? My boyfriend and I got in a fight last night and it ended with us screaming. And I walked away just feeling totally defeated and I'm super pissed at him. Instead of, can you go back to the conversation and talk it through and like come to a solution together? That's fine. But it's like, okay, well, what happened in the conversation and what did you make that mean about you? What worked about how you guys handled that conversation? What didn't work? Where did it go wrong specifically? What did you say or do? What did he say or do that caused it to go awry? And how did that impact you? And can you take responsibility for that? And what do you think you could do next time? Can you let go of that trigger? Can you let go of what happened or didn't happen? And now can you go back and have the conversation with him again? You're getting to the same when it comes to the needle moving breakthroughs, like progress or forward motion versus needle moving breakthroughs. You're getting to the same conclusion, which is go have the conversation again, or the same conclusion of you need to work on building the muscle of being detached on your launch. But you're arriving to that place in a completely more nuanced way with more depth that's actually going to serve them, not just in this situation, but in other situations moving forward. So put a yes in chat if you're picking up what I'm putting down here. Yes, fantastic. Okay. I think I had one more note here before I'm going to move on. Okay. I want to do one more example before we move on because I think I see this a lot and I think it's helpful. So if you're working with clients who are already consistent and they already lead themselves, if you're a business coach, your clients are posting often, they're selling, they're doing the things. If you're a dating coach and your client is going on dates, they're putting themselves out there. They're having conversations, they're meeting guys. If you are a health and fitness coach and your client is already working out, they're already stretching, they're already eating healthy, they're already practicing what you preach. That's the bare minimum, right? But if they are already doing that, they're still going to break their promises. They're still going to have off days where they don't do things that they said they do. But I see this a lot where if you are say you're in a group mastermind call and a client comes to you and says, you know, I've been doing the act, like I usually post every day. I usually sell every day. And I had this promise to go live yesterday and I didn't do it. And I know that that is going to support me in my launch results because it's a great way to nurture people. So I'm going to do it. Do you have any advice on how to do that effectively? What I see coaches do is step over the fact that they broke the promise because that's a breakthrough opportunity. So they'll read the situation and go, okay, she acknowledges the fact that she broke her promise. She's committed to doing the live. She wants to know how to do it well. Great. Okay, let's move forward. I'm going to answer that question and tell her how to do it well. There's a missed breakthrough opportunity. Why? It's like, okay, hey, I get that you get that it's a great thing to do and you're going to do it anyway. But really quickly, what was the breakdown? What happened? I didn't do the live. Are you making that mean anything about you? Or why didn't you do the live? I'm curious, what was it that had you not do the live? Well, and there's the limiting belief that would come up. Okay, what can you do differently moving forward if and when that belief comes up? Because it might still come up again. So I see this all the time where the 1% refinements that you're making in your coaching is not giving advice. It's not sharing the lessons that you know are strategic things that they need to do that are going to help them get results, or are energetics things that are going to support them. It's the in-between moments like that are going to allow them to build more self-awareness and understanding about how they're operating moving forward, and remember that and make that refinement and go do the action and get the better result. Okay, so let's move on. There's 5 best practices and 1% refinements to cause the most breakthroughs when you do the completion and creation exercise. So what I find is that there's a world in which you can go through this exercise very quickly, right? But if you do that without the refinements that I'm going to share with you, the exercise can be reduced to a very surface level conversation. And so these refinements, if you do them when you're doing this exercise with people, are going to make sure that you get the juice, the potency of the breakthroughs for them to set them up for success moving forward. So I'm going to go through these and then I'll share an example of what this looks like with the exercise. So when it comes to specificity, when you're doing the completion and creation exercise, it's the same thing as messaging, meaning when you're messaging and you're saying, you want to find your purpose, align with your purpose, and you're saying very vague and fluffy things that doesn't do anything for the person who's reading it. It's the same thing when you're doing this exercise. If you're going through this exercise and you're finding like your client is giving very vague surface level answers, you have the opportunity to drill down and be even more specific with them, or have them be even more specific. So if they are, what's the example I gave? Yeah. So if you're working through, say, a debrief on your last launch, and you're at the what worked and what didn't part, and someone says, what worked? My content worked. I made X result. My content worked. I made X number of sales. So clearly my content was working. Drill down even further. Okay, what about your content was working? What about it was distinct from your last launch? The same thing goes for what didn't work. Okay, well, what didn't work was my energy got off. I got attached to the results at some point. Okay, how did your energy get off? What does that mean? How did that happen? When did it shift? It's really the who, what, when, where, why, how. Anytime you can drill down on that specificity, it will help them recall that, and it's going to inform and reveal the practical gaps and the energetic gaps that they can fill moving forward. You're also going to look for a change in the state or feeling. So when it comes to doing an exercise like this, a lot of the time it is for a quote unquote negative situation, meaning they are dealing with a breakdown, a launch didn't go as planned, or they're just in a space of breakdown, failure, disappointment, etc., that is keeping them from taking the action that they need to take and taking it really well. And with that being said, the two pieces that I find are kind of the needle moving piece in terms of shifting them from a disempowered to an empowered state are when they connect to the impact. And then at this part here, when you're wiping the slate clean and they're basically letting it go. So when you're doing this exercise, you want to look for, if they're talking about the impact in a very almost numb, overarching state. Well, what was the impact of me not going live in my launch? Well, I probably didn't nurture people as well as I could have. And so I probably could have made more sales if I had done that every week. Or the impact was, well, I kind of felt like shit about myself. There's a difference between them saying that and really getting the impact of it. Like, ugh, damn, I could have made more sales. What was the impact of that? What was the impact of that? I could have made more sales. Or, you know, this really impacted the way that I feel about myself. And I'm disappointed with myself. So you want to look for, you want to look for them feeling the impact and actually getting connected to it on a visceral, emotional, physical level. And then also looking for, at this point where you're having them kind of declare it complete and let go, you want to look for a state change, either feel them looking visibly like there's a weight off their shoulders, them speaking in a different tone of voice, them having a brighter, more smiley facial expression. And if you're finding that this change in state or feeling isn't quite happening, what you can do is just kind of prod a little bit more. Okay, well, you said the impact is you missed out on sales. So what's the impact of that? What's the impact of that? What's the impact of that? You can just kind of keep going with it and pay attention, and you'll know when they are connected to it. You're also going to what I call empty the cup, which is when you're walking through this exercise, you're extracting the information from them. And I find that when I ask at each of these stages, anything else, anything else, anything else, usually there's a little nugget of wisdom, or maybe a couple, that are kind of hidden or underneath the surface that come out. And this is really helpful, especially when it comes to letting go. Because you guys know, like, here's a perfect example. I have this glass of water. Well, you can't really see it. This glass of water right here. Oh, Lord. Okay, here, this glass of water. If this is all of my baggage around my launch right now, and I'm going through this exercise, and I get down to this part here, I'll take a sip. I get down to this part here, and I got the impact up to this point. And then we move on to the next part. Okay, so what can you do differently? But there's still all of this stuff in here. It's not going to be fully complete. And so you're moving forward, and still it's kind of like having, now I'm mixing metaphors. It's like having you're creating new things on top of a pile of poop. So when you ask anything else, anything else, anything else, you keep going until they say, nope, that's it. And then you'll know, okay, now it's really going to be complete for them. Then following with mentorship. So when you're going through all of these steps, if you have a very practical refinement that you know is going to contribute to their success, it's like, hey, I saw that you did X thing in your content, or I saw that you didn't do X thing in your content, and that's a crucial piece of the buyer's journey. If you have a strategic piece of mentorship, or if there's a glaring lesson that you want to share with them because you know it's going to be of service to them, go through, like, you can still share that, but lead with these questions that are going to have them give their own answers first. And then lastly, present a choice. So it hits different when we talk about this conversation of deciding, right? And making choices and making decisions and having moments of clarity be a line in the sand for the way that you're thinking and moving and taking action moving in the future. When we talk about that, it hits different if you say, okay, so you know what you're going to do differently next time. Okay, awesome. So go do that. Versus, okay, so what are you going to do next time? What's the new structures? Okay, great. What's the next action that you're going to take? Okay, awesome. Can you declare all this stuff that happened? Can you declare it complete? Can you decide that this is the moment now? When you have someone give a yes or a no, when you have them declare something, they're choosing or deciding, but on an identity level, it shifts. when they're actually, because they have to, first of all, when you ask the subconscious mind a question, that has to answer. And so it does integrate further on a subconscious level, but it just hits it, it integrates differently. So you want to present a choice. Okay, I'm going to pause here. How are we feeling? Give me a thumbs up if you're picking up what I'm putting down. Give me a thumbs down if you're like, holy moly, I need clarification on something. Thumbs up. Okay. Beautiful. So we're going to do a little workshop. The workshop that we're going to do is I'm going to have, you're in thunder. Oh, internet's unstable. You're in thunderstorms. I have thunderstorms too. I'm looking out my window at thunderstorms. Crazy. That's okay. We're here. We're live. We're doing it. So we're going to workshop this now, and I'm going to give you the opportunity to do this exercise with me. And we're going to have you go through the exercise and do it with me live and practice working through the nuances of the exercise to cause a breakthrough. So JD, you are the lucky soul who is here live with me. Are you open and willing to doing this? It's going to be fun. And there's absolutely zero pressure whatsoever. You can come off mute, by the way.
Hey, I am open to it. I'm a little worried about my internet, and I have to get off right at 4, so I have 10 minutes.
Perfect. We can do that.
Okay.
Okay. What'll have this go faster is don't worry about the internet. It'll be fine. And let's be here together, and that will have it be more efficient. Okay. Okay. Do you have any questions before we start?
No.
Awesome. Okay. So I'm gonna really quickly think of something that you can do this. What's a quick example? Okay. I'll do one that's actually kind of vulnerable for me to do. Okay, so a breakdown that I had over the last couple of days was in prepping all of the assets for my launch and everything. I didn't post content for a couple days in a row. And that has been lingering in the back of my mind as it's just been kind of nagging at me, like, really, girl, like right in this time when you knew you wanted to be more consistent, like, really, you didn't post the content? And so I would love to do this if you could support me in doing this exercise to help have a breakthrough around this.
Okay.
Sound good?
Sure.
Okay, cool. So when we're going through this, yeah, I have this slide up for you. So remember the refinements that I made here. You can kind of keep this in mind as we're going through and just be really present with me. I'm not looking at you. I'm here just receiving your coaching. So just be really present with me. And when we're doing this piece about what worked and what didn't work, you can even throw in a couple of these like angles if you wish. Okay? Okay, cool. So go ahead.
Okay, so what I hear you saying is you're in the middle of putting out some content, and somehow you didn't do what you were wanting to do in the last couple of days. Do you have any particular things that you want to share with that in regards to like why you think it didn't work?
Yeah. So, and let's walk through the actual
Okay.
steps in the
So what
exercise.
happened?
So the facts of what happened is I didn't post content um Friday and Saturday, I believe. Friday and Saturday last week, even though I had promised to do so.
Okay. And so is there anything about that that you're making that mean, to yourself about yourself?
Yeah. So I'm making that mean that that people are this is so vulnerable to do with you guys right now. And it's perfect. So making that mean that there's people are going to make a judgment about the, expertise that I have, or think that I'm not as serious and committed as I actually am.
Okay, well, I hear that.
Yeah.
Hmm. So what do you think about that worked and what didn't?
So what worked and what didn't about the way that I was organizing my time was in creating the kind of the assets in the back in the on the back end, excuse me, behind the scenes. I didn't prioritize doing the content in the morning when I was fresh. And so I found that I was just totally drained and fried by the time that I actually set out to do it. And that totally did not work. And what else? What also didn't work about it was the fact that I was making myself wrong for not doing that, which made it more stung more, and it didn't actually help me get into action.
Why do you think you didn't do it in the morning like you wanted to?
Mm. Um, because the assets that I was creating behind the scenes, knew were going to help me write the content because it was a similar things that I was writing. And so yeah. So that being said, I still could have done it the other way, and I didn't.
What was the tangible impact on you?
The tangible impact was not having opportunities to like share the content and actually have that move the needle forward in terms of everyone who is interested in working with me. The impact was, it definitely threw off my energy in terms of um the kind of enthusiasm that I had for doing the work over the weekend. And yeah, I think those are the two big pieces.
Okay. So do you see anything now that you can do to like take radical responsibility to shift that?
Yeah, I can take radical responsibility for the fact that I know doing content in the morning is the best possible way to set me up for success, and I didn't do
Mhm.
it. I didn't do it. So I can take 100% responsibility for that. And I can also let go of the fact that it means anything, because it doesn't. It really doesn't. And the what's actually going to move the needle is not me creating from a place of scarcity or beating myself up, but just getting in tune with my people and the message that I need to share. So I can accept that and I can let that go for sure.
Is there any new structure or things that you see you could do different?
I think treating doing it in the morning as a non-negotiable
Hmm.
for sure. And also even maybe taking 5 minutes the night before to go, okay, what is the piece that I'm going to create tomorrow? And what are a couple of like high level points that I know already I want to put into it? Just
Yeah.
to get the juices flowing.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So do you feel like you can declare that you're complete with this?
I can declare it complete.
All right.
Yeah.
And from there, is there any other like next step action in addition to what we already shared?
Absolutely. So I'm going to do what I just came up with, which is today, um, even map out the next few days worth of posts and those points just to set myself up for success tomorrow.
Awesome. Good job.
Thank you.
Hmm.
Okay, we have 2 minutes left. So why don't you share with me what did you, how was that for you? What did you discover going through that exercise versus the way you might typically approach such a situation?
Well, I definitely feel like I want to practice. Like that's the first thing that came up is just thinking about the things that I'm already doing or what's like you were mentioning at the beginning of the call, right? Like where is your intention? What is really your true core commitment to working with somebody else? And then those patterns that we start to work with over time and get like kind of stuck in versus there's some other things and there's new options that could be integrated in. So I think
Yeah.
that was the biggest thing is like kind of grappling with, okay, here's how I would do it versus here's this new structure and how to like work on practicing a new structure and then integrating it into what I already have.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you imagine practicing this, 10, 20, 30, 40 times, what do you see will be possible? What do you think?
Well, I really appreciate what you're bringing in regards to the declaration and like that physical change in state.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's like huge. It's a huge key in coaching that often gets overlooked.
Yeah,
And so that's the first thing that's coming to mind as having more of a space of impact in my coaching around the state change.
for sure. Did you notice that with me when we were doing that?
Maybe that's kind of is a little tricky because I'm like, am I doing the script versus doing but
Yeah,
did you notice the state change?
yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that's the beauty of it is like the client knows too
Yeah,
when they feel the shift.
exactly. Yep.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And that's what really matters. It's like I say that to you as you having a kind of a place to locate yourself while you're leading the exercise. But
Mhm.
that's really what is the most important is when they walk away going like, huh, okay,
Yeah.
I got this. I feel better.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so it's top of the hour. I know you have to go. There's just couple more things here so you can catch that on the replay, but I just want to acknowledge you and appreciate you for doing this live with me.
Yeah. Thank you for the opportunity.
Of
Yeah.
course.
Mhm.
Okay, I'll see you in
Okay.
Telegram. Okay, beautiful. So as we've gone through this exercise, there may be a couple of things coming to your mind in terms of, okay, how am I actually applying this with my clients and in the way that I'm coaching? There's a few things that I hear time and time again for people. So I just want to just address that now and share like a different perspective. So if you are thinking that, this kind of exercise won't work with me because I have 30 people in my program, or that's my commitment is to have 30 people in my program. And I can't do this with every single person who has a question, or I can't do this with every single person in the hot seat. That is not true at all. In fact, you could do it with everyone, and you maybe even should do it with everyone. Excuse me. I did this exercise when I was the team leader of the leadership program. I used to do this exercise with 120 people at a time. And that is the power of this type of coaching is that it is truly scalable and it applies in any context. So you can do this on a live call. If you do this, you can do this with one person live in front of everyone else and have everyone listen as if they're the one going through the exercise and everyone's going to get a breakthrough from it. You can literally lead this as if you have a mastermind. You could do this exercise on a group call halfway through the container. Let's say it's 6 months. You could do it 3 months in and have this be a really incredible exercise to wipe the slate clean for how they've been participating in the mastermind and create like completely new wave of momentum for the last 3 months. You could do that. You can do this in Voxer. Hey, I noticed that you're in this breakdown. Here's these questions that I have for you. Go through them and share in a message what comes up for you, and let's walk through this versus you sitting there and explaining yourself in the voice note. That's the power of learning this type of skill to kind of debrief and shift their belief in their behavior. It's that it is scalable. And when you are already working with empowered clients, when you can do this, it's going to get them into 5 times the belief and 5 times the action. So if you're also thinking, this takes longer, than I usually take when I coach, or this is too long, or it feels like hand holding. What I would actually say is no, it saves you time. Again, imagine doing this with 120 people at once, wherever every single person in your mastermind doing this exercise. The breakthroughs and blocks that they're going to be able to move through all at once versus you having individual conversations, that's going to save you time. And it's also saving you time in terms of the blocks that you're actually nipping in the bud for good, as opposed to, I think that's the phrase, nipping in the bud, not the butt. Anyway, you're having them work through the problem for good as opposed to it reappearing 3 weeks in a row. Like I shared on the last call, I have a client who's a dating coach, and she had a client who was resisting dating for 6 months while they worked together one-on-one. She did this exercise with her, particularly the piece about the impact. And then her client took full responsibility and went on 2 dates in 3 dates in 2 weeks, I think. So again, take it with a grain of salt. You already work with empowered clients who aren't going to resist taking a single action in 6 months. But the point is that it saves you time and you being able to really get your clients where they need to be successful. And I would also say it's actually too much time if you are giving blanket coaching, like trust yourself, that has clients constantly seeking advice or not trusting themselves and then saying, hey, do you have feedback on this? And or every little mindset wobble they're plugging into the chat and need your support. Like that's what takes too much time. Or what takes too much time is you having to go out and sign more clients because your current clients spent weeks hung up on the same blocks and didn't make as much tangible progress as they could, and they didn't resign. That's what takes too much time. So when you lead your clients to work through their own blocks and be more independent by, for example, including this exercise in your curriculums, including it in a video training to actually have everyone who goes through the program learn how to do this. If you're assigning it as to one of your clients in Telegram, they get 3 times the breakthroughs 3 times faster with less time and effort on your part, and they're gonna go crush it. So that's what I would say. It does actually save you time. And the other last thing that I hear a lot is, how does this stack up against, like, this is a conscious coaching style or methodology. How does this stack up against energy healing or subconscious reprogramming? There is something to be said for the subconscious mind controlling 95% of your reality and making shifts on a subconscious level as a means to, like, that needs to happen, right? But the thing is, a lot of the people who've come into CCA, they are trained in these other modalities. They're trained in EFT, they're trained in emotion code, they're trained in Psych K, they're trained in other kinds of subconscious reprogramming. And they come to me because they don't know how to do this coaching, because they can't coach in groups. It's not going to work to do an to clear a block using emotion code in a Zoom room with 25 people. And so I would say only doing this, only having this in your arsenal teaches clients to rely on you, and it teaches them to be reactive. Why? Because we know that clients get more results through implementation, taking the action. And this might be taboo to say, but taking action often is enough to get rid of some mindset issues. It's taking the action and learning the lesson that has the subconscious mind go, oh, actually, I didn't die. I'm cool. You can eliminate the need for mindset issues. And when you get them in implementing and learning the lessons and extracting the lessons, that's when they're getting into action faster, and it helps them understand, oh, I see it. This is where I get dysregulated. Oh, I can catch myself next time. So when it comes to how all of these methodologies work together, they're extremely powerful, but oftentimes I find are best used for the deeper, really, really deep stuff that needs to be worked through, as opposed to things that don't. Okay, I think that was it. Ba-ba-da-ba-ba. Yeah, okay. So, oh yeah, these are supposed to be the other way around. Pardon me. Okay, so we're closing it out here. I just want to remind you 2 giveaways that we have for the boot camp. So if you tag me on Instagram stories and or DM me a takeaway from the training, like what shifted for you, what is your main takeaway? If you do that even once, you're going to unlock a bonus training where I'm teaching you how to use coaching tools in your sales conversations for increased conversions. And the grand prize giveaway is a $500 credit towards my signature program, Coaching Craft Academy. And Coaching Craft Academy is the space where you're learning coaching and leadership tools so that you can bust through your own blocks and your clients' blocks so you can 3x your business and your revenue as a leader who turns clients into ride or dies with mic drop results. So being the grand prize giveaway, this is based on like the quantity. So every stories you tag me in, every DM, every takeaway you DM me, or even a share in the private Telegram community is an entry for the grand prize, and I'll pick a winner at the end. Okay. So the action step for this training is very simple. Use the completion and creation exercise with a client, and bonus points if you can do that a couple of times with different clients or even in different contexts. And so as a reminder, those contexts would be if they are in a breakdown related to a launch, if they're in a season where something is ending or completing like a launch, or if you're a dating coach, a relationship or something like that, and they want to extract the lessons from it. Any situation where they're in a disempowered state and you want to get them into an empowered state and in action. And posting your action step in the private Telegram community. All right. I believe that is it. Yeah. So this concludes the first training of the boot camp. And the next and final training is this Thursday at the same time. This is going to be an action-packed training where I'm teaching you one more tool to help your clients arrive at their own breakthroughs faster. It's a very powerful one-liner tool, not as extensive as this exercise. You're going to love it. And we're also going to share next steps around Coaching Craft Academy, where if you know you want to go deeper on these tools and have that transformation that I just shared about a couple minutes ago, then that is going to be the place for you. But if you already know that you want to go deep on this, if you're like, hell to the yes, I'm all in on this, I want to do it, then DM me CCA and we'll get you all the details so you can join. All right. That is it. Remember, you go first. Go take the action step, post it in the Telegram, and I will see you in Telegram and I will see you on Thursday. Thank you for being here. I adore you. I love you. Go forth, create, and create some transformations.